As Michael always said and already mentioned, there was one human being already from the very beginning of Academia Superior, part of the family. And I remember that when we had this foundation celebration in Linz 1.5 years ago, he was sending greetings per video from San Francisco. And last year, when we had the first time our Academia Superior meeting here in Gmunden, he already did that, what he's world famous for. He chaired our sessions, he did the interviews, and you know that when scientists talk to each other, it is really hard to write a summary about it. We couldn't do it. So we asked somebody who is world famous for writing summaries about things, for editing things. He was the former editor of the Harvard Business Review, and I love most his own description of his profession on his business card, where he calls himself a global detective, what might be representative for the fact that he's known that he has traveled all 194 countries known by the UN. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome with me to Mr. Alan Webber.
Vielen Dank. Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren, und herzlichen Gruß aus Amerika. Let me say a few words and add my own thoughts of admiration for Academia Superior. Marcus has already described what a worthwhile and important undertaking this is, and I am more than happy, I am honored to be part of it. I think it is unique in all the world to have a province think so carefully, so thoughtfully, and with so much foresight about issues today that can create a better future. So I have nothing but great admiration for the organizers of the event last year and this year, and also for the people who come to take part in it. It's a remarkable undertaking. I'd like to talk very briefly about this notion of what's old and what's new. And I'd like to do it from the point of view of an American. When you talk about what's old and what's new in the context of America, things get slightly complicated. Just for some historical context, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart died on December 5th, 1791. 10 days later, December 15th, 1791, the United States of America adopted the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States. And these Bill of Rights, these 10 amendments, guaranteed the people of America certain basic rights: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, to come together, the right to bear arms, protection from unreasonable search and seizure, the right to a trial by jury, protection from cruel and unusual punishments. Many rights which today we consider old, but at the time they were actually quite new. And that dichotomy between what is old and what is new is what makes America a very different place. And in fact, properly understood, America isn't even a place. It's an idea or a story. In many of America's best-known works of literature, the story involves individuals either working together to solve a common problem, people coming together as a helpful community to tackle a difficult problem, a social problem, an environmental problem, or an economic problem, or else an individual taking heroic action to do the right thing. American stories involve frontiers, something that John F. Kennedy understood when he ran for president on the idea that if he were elected, America would explore new frontiers. American stories tend to be filled with optimism and independence, with innovation and resilience. In America, it's okay to fail because you'll always have another chance. It's okay to take a risk because that's what freedom and self-expression are for. It's okay to try to make something out of yourself because self-improvement and self-expression are part of the American spirit. And that's why when you think about America today, you think about entrepreneurship. You think about people taking risks to start something new, something innovative. People trying something that might not even work, but they have to do it because it's who they are. It's in their hearts. It's in their passion. It's in their spirit. I think America may be the only country where it's possible to speak of an abstract concept called the American dream. Think about that notion. Can you imagine such a thing as the French dream, or the Italian dream, or even what would be the Austrian dream? And yet in the United States, it's common to talk about the American dream. And today it's increasingly common to talk about what has to happen to keep the American dream alive, to keep something so the flame still burns despite the forces of change, economic, social, and political. When the world is turbulent and unpredictable and uncertain, the American dream provides a North Star so that individuals, as independent people, or communities coming together, can navigate the oceans of volatility. But what is the American dream? The values that comprise the American dream were implicit in the country's founding, and they were expressed in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. They said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Those words were written in 1776 by Thomas Jefferson. And when you stop and think about those words for a minute, and don't just take them as a historical document, but when you look at them word by word, they are amazing ideas, revolutionary ideas in 1776. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident. That means you don't have to prove them in a court of law. You don't have to go in front of a sovereign or in front of a monarch and argue the case. They are self-evident. There is no proof required. All men are created equal. There's no hierarchy, no kings, no queens, no royalty. That all of us enjoy the same rights given to us by our Creator, rights that cannot be denied by government or any other power, the rights to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And today, the subject of what is happiness came up in our discussions. These are the values that are embedded in the American experience. But are they old, or are they new, or are they timeless? And it wasn't the American dream that was born in 1776. There was an idea, but it wasn't until 1831, 80 years ago, that the actual phrase, the American dream, made its first appearance. In 1931, an author named James Truslow Adams wrote a history book called The Epic of America. And in it he said, the American dream is, and this is a quote, that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. It is not a dream of motor cars and high wages merely. No, a dream of a social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable and be recognized by others for what they are, regardless of the fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. And that dream is part of what makes America different, and what makes the distinction between what is old and what is new very hard to grasp in the American context. Now think about what Marcus was saying earlier about old age, very conventional concept of what it means to be old. And in America today, and every single day for the next 19 years, 10,000 baby boomers will reach age 65. Every day, 10,000. By 2030, a full 18% of Americans will be age 65 or older. But Americans today refuse to talk about retirement or old age. The largest organization in America that represents older Americans is called AARP, the American Association of Retired People. And it is getting ready, AARP is getting ready to launch a new initiative that will position the organization not as a group for retired people, but as a resource for people who are entering a new period of creativity and purpose, a period of life reimagined. What is life reimagined? It's a life with purpose, with meaningful connections to a community, with the opportunity for individuals to contribute their gifts. It is a continuation of the American dream into old age. And I think that spirit is what makes America different. In America, it isn't a choice between old or new. It's a combination of old and new. Or more accurately, it's about renewal, about an innate capacity for fresh starts and new beginnings, for personal reinvention and national reinvigoration. It's about new opportunities and new possibilities, about finding new ways to reimagine the past and bring new life to the future. So what's old and what's new? When you are seeking renewal and reinvention, everything is both rooted in old values and the old stories that go back to the founding of America. But they're also expressed in the ongoing search for new adventures, new experiences, new solutions to problems that matter, and new possibilities that stretch far ahead into the frontiers of the future. Thank you very much.